308 games later, the Premier League season 2023-2024 has come to an end. And today being the final day of the season, there's a mixture of emotions. There are those who are celebrating, that's the likes of Manchester City. There are those who are bidding farewell to their legends, the likes of Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp. There are those probably who are looking back at some moments that defined their season, the likes of Arsenal, sadly. And there are those who are celebrating their first ever Champions League football next season, for example, Aston Villa. And there are also those who are celebrating having survived relegation despite points deductions and the challenges that they went through. For example, Nottingham Forest and Everton. And finally, there are those who are going back to the Championship 1 year after they came back to the Premier League. That is, I'm speaking about Burnley, I'm speaking about Sheffield United, and I'm speaking about Luton Town. In this particular video, I'll be talking to you why Arsenal lost the Premier League title this season. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're poor or they have been poor or there are mistakes that they made. No. Arsenal have been absolutely amazing this season. They have played well. They learned from the mistakes that they had made last season. They were good this season, but I still feel there are some areas where they need to work on. Because for them not to beat Manchester City, it means that there's a way that Manchester City was better than them in some areas. When you look at last season, when Arsenal lost the Premier League, they lost the Premier League out of a performance-related aspect. They lost their matches. They somehow along the way, they lost the momentum. They lost back-to-back against Manchester City. They also lost against Nottingham Forest. They also lost against Brighton in the last 10 games of the season. So this year, the feeling is different. They did their part, but of course, they were hoping that Man City would drop points, which did not happen. And going forward for next season, you remember Liverpool were also in the same situation that Arsenal are in today, because Liverpool led the Premier League for a long period and they got to 90 plus points and still did not win the Premier League. But the next season, they grabbed the Premier League and they won it very early. I think it was 5 matches to go. They won the Premier League then by a margin of 20 points. So if Arsenal are to do this, to do what Liverpool did, then they need to change some aspects. And the aspect number one that Arsenal needs to change this season, I think it's all about the manager. Mikel Arteta has been tremendous. He has been good. He has been world class in the way that he has turned things around at Arsenal. With his project, he has been given time, he has been given the resources that he needs, and he has performed well. I know Arsenal have risen the bar too high, such that when they don't achieve some things, they are judged against the bar that they're the ones who took it to the higher levels. Mikel Arteta has been good this season, but I still find that there's some aspects in his in-game management that are letting him down. Whenever you watch Arsenal, it always seems as if the coach has premeditated substitutions. The matches that they lost, where probably they lost the league, that's the match against Aston Villa, because they lost against Aston Villa at home and away. They lost the match against Fulham. In these matches, among many other matches, there are some that they got lucky with these mistakes that I'm talking about. You always feel that Mikel Arteta has there's some players that will be substituted irrespective of the results. You always know that it's either Trossard for Martinelli or Martinelli for Trossard. Whether Arsenal are winning 5-0, whether they are losing 1-0, whether they need a goal, whether they don't need a goal, they just need to see the game through, they always have that substitution. The other substitution that Mikel Arteta has been making this season is about the midfield. You've always been, when you're watching Arsenal, you always know that Jorginho will either come in at a particular time in the second half, or Thomas Partey, and the vice versa. The other substitution that Mikel Arteta has been making frequently is the left back, but this one he's more justified because Arsenal have been struggling with the left back position this season because of the injuries that they have had. But as compared to Pep Guardiola, the Manchester City squad, all the players this season, none of them has played all the 90 minutes except Rodri. Rodri has been the heart of Manchester City. But apart from him, you never know what Pep Guardiola would do. Pep Guardiola, Man City would be needing a goal. In the second half, you see a substitution, De Bruyne is taken off. I'm not saying that whatever he does is the best way to go about it, but I'm just saying that being unpredictable, having that sort of unpredictability that the opponent does not know what you're going to do. The opponent is clueless because you are a coach that can do anything at any particular time. That has given Manchester City an edge. Arsenal, when I'm talking about the game against Aston Villa, Unai Emery, the Aston Villa coach, is one of the best coaches in the world when it comes to planning a match. And in this particular match, especially the second leg, which is the only match that Arsenal have lost in the Premier League this year, Unai Emery knew that what Arsenal would offer in the first half, and he knew and planned even for the substitutions in the second half. Because when you look at that match in the second half, that's when Arsenal lost it. That's when Unai Emery brought in Leon Bailey in the left side because he knew Arsenal would bring a change in the left-hand side to go for a goal. And that's when he knew this is the best time to hit them on that particular wing. So if Mikel Arteta is to take Arsenal to higher levels, if they are to beat this Manchester City team to the Premier League next season, if they are going to achieve higher points and probably now be crowned champions next season, he needs to work on his tactical approach in matches. He's good in setting up the team. He's good in the gameplay that Arsenal have. He's good when it comes to motivating players. He gets most of the things right. But in this particular aspect of premeditated substitutions, I think that's the main reason as to why Arsenal have lost the league. He needs to trust the youngsters more. When the season was starting, he extended Reece Nelson's contract. When the season was starting, he said that Smith Rowe will be crucial in this particular season. Fabio Vieira was injured when the season was starting, but somewhere along the way, he recovered, but he was not being used because Mikel Arteta seems to have lost trust with these players. I want him to think more about these particular players. If he's keeping these players on the bench, then he needs to think about, are they good enough, or is it about trusting the other players more than the others? I understand when quality comes in, then you have a point when you have some players on the bench and you start others. But you can't do that over and over and over again. And the kind of fixtures that we have today in the Premier League and all over the world, in the world of football, you cannot play the same players week in, week out without consequences. The consequences could swing either way. You either lose players to injuries, or teams start to understand your game plan, and then now you become predictable and they're able to deal with anything that you'll bring about. Any problems that you cause them, they'll be able to react properly. So for Mikel Arteta next season, please, I know he'll watch this video, please work on that. Manchester City, the mentality that this team has this season, not just this season, the mentality that this team has been having in the Premier League is out of this world. They won the Premier League 3 times in 3 consecutive seasons, and people thought that maybe that was enough. But this season, they have gone an extra mile to win it for 4 consecutive times. And as I said in an earlier video, for any team to beat them in the Premier League, to win the Premier League ahead of Manchester City, you'll need to go the season close to unbeaten. Arsenal have done their best. This year, they have lost only 1 match. This year or this season, they had the best defense and the second best attacking, but still that was not enough for them to win. For Arsenal still, they have not lost any match this year or this season against one of the top 6 in the Premier League. They have beaten some home and away, and they have taken 4 points from notably Manchester City and from Liverpool. Last season, the main problem was they lost to Manchester City back-to-back. And Mikel Arteta has mastered how to win against Pep Guardiola. He has mastered how to win, although he's going against Jurgen Klopp. And if he has mastered to win against these experienced and top quality coaches, then he also needs to master how to win against those coaches that are good at planning the match. the likes of Unai Emery, the likes of David Moyes. I know there are more coaches that will be coming into the Premier League this season, next season, because there are some who are leaving. And still, if the others come, you need to carry on with the lessons that you have learned. Last season they learned, this season they made less mistakes. And to win the Premier League, it's a learning curve. So next season, Arsenal needs to hold on to what they have achieved this season, then plus the managerial adjustments that I'm talking about. If they do that, I'm convinced, more than convinced, that they'll win the Premier League next season. If they don't, we won't be surprised, maybe another team winning or Manchester City winning it for the 5th consecutive time. For the transfer window, Arsenal, most people have been talking about a striker. I don't know what they'll do this summer transfer window. But for me, I feel they just need more time. They need to give some players more time. The likes of Gabriel Jesus. When the season started, he was injured. He did not have a full preseason. So probably if he's given a full preseason, as well as you can see Kai Havertz is playing well at the front, I don't see any need for a striker. If they bring in a striker, which probably they will, then the team will be kind of destabilized, because it will mean that Kai Havertz will not play in the false nine that he has been playing this year. And if he's taken back to the midfield, it means Arsenal are unstable. That's the same way that they did when they were starting the season. Kai Havertz in midfield did not work well for them. So if they are going for a striker, let's wait and see what they'll do, because Mikel Arteta has proven so many people wrong. When he went for Kai Havertz, many people did not believe that Kai Havertz would have done or achieved what he has achieved individually this season. So let's wait and see. Let me know what you guys think. The season is over. Let me know about your best moments for the season. Let me know about your worst moments of the season down there on the comment section. And this week, starting tomorrow, we'll be doing a season review, and I have some good content for you guys. Hope to see you next time. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend.